Well, let's start taking off the front wheel. First thing you want to do is loosen up this pinch bolt. There's a little Allen's wrench side on here if you're loosening up this nut, and it spins in here, but usually it doesn't do that. You want to take off the nut that's on this side. There's two washers below it, a smaller one and a bigger one. And here's the washers. See, here's the nut, washer 1, washer 2. I think this is a lock washer. I put Loctite blue on that actually when I installed it. On this particular bike, it's an '89 Sportster. It's 55 foot-pounds on the axle nut. This pinch bolt, I think it's 21 to 26 foot-pounds. So the 55 foot-pounds on the axle bolt, pinch bolt's 21 to 26. You tap out the bolt. Like what I do is I turn it. I stick either a Phillips screwdriver in here or extension. I turn it and get it going. Now, if you got rust on this axle, it's going to be a real bitch to get it out. This one, I use this. Actually, use this extension. I guess you can use a flat punch, so I can tap from the opposite side. I used a piece of wood to get it going. Tapped it with a piece of wood, and once it got up to a certain point, I had to get on the inside where the bolt is, where the axle is actually, and to tap it out, I use this. But if your axle is rusty, forget about it. I mean, you might have a hard time. There's a spacer right there, obviously, right? Let me see how much grease is on here. If this was rusty, or if they put it in, when they put it in from the factory, like I know this is an '89, this would have been serviced, but any of the bikes that are done from the factory, usually they don't put a lot of grease in on the axle or anything like that. It might have, I don't know, some kind of coating, maybe when the part was new, but nothing like, you want to put a lot of grease on this axle, because this gets rusty. Man, it's going to be really difficult to get the hell out. Now, what I like doing is, I know that spacer is on the opposite side, so I put it over there, Not that I would screw this up anyway, but, So, I'm going to see about, well, I'm going to probably do the wheel bearings first. I don't know if I'm going to knock these out or not, see if they're good or bad. If they're good, I'm going to leave them the hell alone. I'll just put a lot of grease in them. Probably a better chance that the front ones aren't good. Probably got to lift this bike up just a little more too to get this wheel out from under here. But this is where the front wheel is a lot easier to do than the back, and the back isn't that hard either, because there's a spot on the frame I use. You can see where it is. I just use a scissor jack. And I got this over here too, but I just use a scissor jack where that scissor jack fits right in the corner there. You can see that? Like, in other words, a slot in the top of the scissor jack fits in a slot in the frame. And it's a lot easier to lift a bike like that. So, I don't know if this will come out. Well, I might probably have to lift the bike up just a little more, but not much. To get the tire out of there, you want to deflate the tire because of these bolts, so you can squeeze it together and get it past those bolts, because the bulge of the tire is bigger than that. Now here I'm using my handy dandy small claw hammer. Now I already loosened it up, but basically the principle is it's there we go. Here's your seal. So these do require a special tool to get out. I don't think you can hammer these out from the other side. You could, I guess, if you had a long bar with a little end on it going like that was real thick, so you can catch and go past. Because there's this is the spacer. And actually, when you stick a new what do you call it in there? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's like the rim lip right here. I don't know if you could, well, you can't see it really good. It would get in the way of knocking this out from the other side. What you'd need is a bar with like something about that long on the end of it that comes out at a right angle. That's thick, that won't bend, so you can catch it on this, the bearing race. But I'm going to get the proper tool for it. If these aren't any good, I'm just going to repack them. I don't think they're really that bad though, but I know the back ones are really good. But these look like these got a lot of grease in them, and I put that Slick 50. I don't know, I use really good grease. So we'll clean these off, see how they are. They're probably pretty damn good, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem. Well, looking at the bearing race and the bearing, they're in really good shape. Clean the hell out of them. I'm just going to repack them with this stuff here, extra heavy duty grease for farm equipment construction, high temperature, high speed bearings, or regular maintenance. Should be good enough. I guess, as long as, what the problem, like I said on the other video, people pressure wash their bike. They get it past this seal, because this is not one of those, sealed bearings like they had 2000 and up. But I think as long as you don't get moisture in here, these damn things last like a gazillion years, man. Especially since it says USA on it. I got two full sets of bearings and a whole pile of seals. Well, I'm going to pick up the tool to take these out, but I'm not going to change it because they're not screwed up. They're not screwed up at all. So they're just getting packed with grease. That's all. Now that's the back side of the seal. I actually fill it up with grease. It's like a hollow cavity back there. So it's going to get flipped over and tap it in. And I got a socket here that's a perfect size. You can notice it's pretty wide too. It's just like it's a seal driving tool. It's almost exactly perfect. Nice and heavy too. So you just tap it in just where it's a hair below the surface of, I don't know, I think it's like 25 thousandths below. They give you a spec, but just a hair below the surface of the lip of the wheel. So there's a lot of grease in there, really packed it in there good. That's the key to keeping these good. And even if you wash the bike, don't get soap in there. Just wipe it off with something like, put some WD-40 on a rag and just clean around there. Don't do WD-40 on the brake rotor. Put it on a rag and just wipe around there if there's some dirt. I don't care about a little bit of dirt, but I think that's 90% of the problem why the neck bearings go, the swing arm bearings go. People pressure washing the crap out of the bike. Oh, it doesn't look pretty. Well, you're getting water into the bearings. There's not much wear on those bearings up in the neck, and not much on a swing arm. It's moisture. It's really what the hell the problem is. And these tapered bearings seem like they're going to last forever if you freaking grease the hell out of them. Yeah, and this, you want to make sure you clean off this spacer. Not that it's absolutely essential, but you can see there's a little bit of slight amount of corrosion right here on the edge. This is where the seal actually is. You see these two lines? The seal that's in there, that black seal. The axle goes through here, of course. And so I cleaned it off. You can see partly where I cleaned it, right? You just use the nylon wheel and a drill. And I'll just go around here and, hold it with the needle nose pliers and clean it up really good. And put a little light coat of grease on it. Stick it in there. I'm going to be doing the other side of the wheel bearing, and I'll be flipping the tire over. You notice I'm working on cardboard too, right? You don't put them on the ground. And I'll be taking the tire off of here and cleaning the rim and stuff with the that nylon wheel, and also putting a tire valve in there too. This tire valve's got a slight leak in it unless you put a cap on it. So make sure I don't get any dirt in, this part. Actually, I cleaned this off so this tape should stick, but I got it wrapped around itself. I put some Gorilla tape over here, so and it covers that up, right? I mean, if you're working outside, you want to make sure everything's clean with the bearings. Well, I just noticed something. I got a damaged rotor, which is amazing. So, I'm going to go ahead and get another rotor for this thing. I didn't notice that before, so I just did the other side here. And so I'm not going to be able to finish this whole thing today. Just got to order a rotor right now. So again, I'm using a tire changer to break a bead. You don't really need this tire changer. You can just use your feet, boots, especially if you got boots on with a hard edge, not like these kind of boots. We use the edge of the heel, it'll get it. But this, I already broke the bead. We're going to use the levers now. Levers, screwdrivers, get them out. I got a couple tire levers around here. Just one other one. So we'll get that out of here. It's a good thing I didn't ride this bike down to that big flag, big Confederate flag down there in Tampa behind a highway, because it had a damaged rim, not a rim, but a damaged rotor. I didn't even notice that shit. It's probably been like that for a long time. I don't know if it's quite, yeah, it's probably cracked all the way through. Shit. Don't even notice it though. It's been damaged like that for a while because it's not a fresh crack. It's whatever the hell it was. It might have started out as a small crack and got bigger or something. I don't know. So, meantime, I'll just put the tire on it and change out this valve. Should have the right valve for it. Might clean this rim up and paint it with chassis saver, which is last time I painted these rims with mag wheel paint. I don't think that's, I think chassis, I got silver chassis saver. That shit will freaking stay on there forever. I don't think that mag wheel paint is, none of the paints you use really last that long. The other thing is, if you get these aftermarket rims, they're real expensive, but it's a much higher quality aluminum. It's like, this aluminum, like you shine it up or something, and you just get it wet once, it's already screwed up, man. It's like, I mean, you can put stuff on it, but it doesn't, the aftermarket rims, I'm not doing that shit though. I mean, if the rims goes bad, I'll get aftermarket. There's something wrong with the rim, but there's nothing wrong with it, I can change it. But the aftermarket rims, much better quality aluminum in them. Remember back to a lot of the aftermarket parts can be much better, it depends on which ones you get. Well, these rims had some corrosion on them, so it took me a while to clean them up, and you can see some pitting in here, and it's just from age. But like I said, not everything aftermarket is better than Harley Davidson. Harley stuff is pretty good, but there is aftermarket stuff out there that is a lot better, and you won't get this kind of corrosion and stuff with some of the aftermarket things that are products that are available. This is probably why I had to use some bead sealant on another rim. Even though I cleaned it with the wire brush and stuff and the drill, there probably was a little bit of an imperfection someplace, just enough to lose some air and cause the bead to break. But when I put the bead sealer on it, it's made for tires. It's the actual right stuff. It's not fix-a-flat. There's no problem. So I'm probably going to run some of that ride-on. I ordered that ride-on permanent tire sealant balancer. There's a certain amount you put in each tire. Depends on the tire size. So I'll probably put some of that in here, in these, maybe. I always did order it, but I'm going to have to order a rotor. Probably going to get a stainless steel rotor. Probably a little stronger. I don't know when this rotor cracked. Could have been when I was moving the bike a long time ago. Because, I don't know when the hell it happened actually. It could have been anything. But it's been like that for a while. I never noticed it when I was riding. Because I was kind of taking it easy. It's the other thing too. You don't notice it because it's just a flat. It's like you don't notice going over these holes or just a crack. It's like the rotors, it just rides right over it, no problem. I'm gonna get new pads and a stainless steel rotor for this thing. I figured stainless steel is probably going to be more resistant to any kind of breakage too. Better than OEM. If I have to get new wheels, I'll get something much higher quality where the aluminum doesn't get all nasty and shit. It's just how it is with these things. Well, I removed the valve stem, and this thing was actually pretty much stuck in there pretty good. So what I did was I put a board over it like that, and I put a C-clamp like this so I could push it out, and I had this up on the board, the top part up on the board. The board was up there. I pushed it out. The thing was really in there pretty damn good. There was corrosion around here, so I hit it with the nylon brush. Now there's different size valve stems, and this is 11.3 millimeter, which is I done, what do they call that? So 7/16 is an 11 millimeter, so it's probably a 15/32, You know, but there's a range that these fit because you can see the rubber. So, and when you put them in, there's actually a certain torque, I think, but you really want to put some Loctite on a nut when you tighten them down, so you make sure it doesn't come loose. The one that it doesn't really, you know, it's like as long as the rubber is crushed down, it's going to seal it up. But you don't want that locking nut, which is this thing, coming loose. So you want to put some Loctite. There's a rubber seal that goes on the opposite side here, and then there's a little beveled cap which goes over the red rubber seal this way. Then you put the nut on it, and then it has the acorn cap for, you know, the, you know, just when you, so you cover up where it doesn't get dirty. This one, you know, I was messing around. I couldn't figure out where the hell the leak was on this one. I remember I installed this tire last time, years ago, and I determined it was actually this thing. And all I did was I made sure I put the acorn valve stem on there, because there's a little gasket in there. It had a real slow leak. When you put this on there, you tightened it up a little bit pretty good. The leak wouldn't totally go away, but I figure since now I got the wheel off, let's get it right. Let's do it right. So you want to tighten them down so the rubber gasket gets crushed, but you know, not over crushed too much. But there's Loctite blue on there, so, and of course this little boogie goes on there. This rim was cracked for a while, man. I mean, this rim, the freaking rotor. Can't even tell. You can't even tell when you're braking or riding or nothing. But then, if another section of it cracked off, God, that would have been disastrous. Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say, man. I really don't know. Well, it could have been. Yeah, it could have been. Could have been. If it cracked off, and when you hit your brakes, another section, it could have jammed up on the caliper, just stopped the wheel, man. That would have been really fucked. That would have been messed up, big time, man. Didn't, you know, this could have happened. Jeez, could have been happening when I was moving it around or something somehow. I don't know. I don't know when this happened. Could have been a long time ago. Well, the tire's on there. The rotation's correct. This would be the left side of the bike, so it goes this way. There's a rotation. I'd be done, basically. Just got to put it on the bike. You know, put the axle through it, torque it to 55 foot-pounds, put some Loctite blue on the axle nut, torque the pinch bolt to 21 to 26 foot-pounds, and you know, that's it. But I don't know if well, maybe I'll put it on there just for the hell of it, because you ain't gonna be able to ride it with this thing like that. No way. Yeah, screwed up. Maybe I won't put it on. I don't know. Just stick it in there, up in there. So, but that's a wrap. But that's why I guess it's, man, I never expected that to be cracked like that, man. I didn't do that just now or nothing, because it's been like that. And, you know, I definitely didn't hear no crack or nothing either. But I couldn't have done it because I was working on a cardboard for one. I was just laying on there, but I don't know where the hell that came from. But I'm going to order a stainless steel rotor right now. And also I'll check this thing for, make sure it seats good. If it leaks a little air, I'll put that bead sealant on it. That's probably why that rear rim, it's fine now. I mean, the rear rim's got 39.5 pounds. Also check the rotor on the rear. There's no crack in there or nothing, but holy shit. Good thing I didn't use this bike going down. I mean, it might have freaking made it, but it could have been freaking major problem too. It's a pretty old bike, even though it's been, you know, done over and shit. So it's an 89, so it's 11 plus, it's 29 years old, man. 11 plus 18, it's a 29-year-old bike. Sometimes they call antiques over 25, sometimes they're over 30. It's almost getting, well, it's not an antique, or what would you call that? I don't know. Not exactly antique, but, you know, classic or some shit, whatever. So it's pretty old, man. And I never changed that rotor. I mean, I've already changed the caliper, and I changed the pads, and I changed the master cylinder in the front. I already did that. I mean, I don't know what the hell hasn't. Well, most everything on this bike has been changed. Everything was done over the engine and transmission. I don't know what the hell. I mean, just about everything on the damn bike was changed, but I never changed that rotor, so that's the original one. It's got about 60,000 miles on that freaking rotor, so maybe that's quite. Maybe it's getting a little thin. Maybe that's why it cracked too. I don't know. The rear one seems really pretty damn thick. The front one was a little thinner. Well, it's probably because I used the front brake more, right? So, end of its useful life. So, anyway, I'll probably put this thing back. I don't know. I just don't like leaving it. Well, you know what I'll do? Maybe I'll just leave the bike like this, and I'll chain it up, cover it up, and put some more. There's a jack stand underneath it right there too. So, you know, I don't think it's, you know, I'll put some more jack stand. I'll put another jack stand under there. So, take this shit off of here too, and head these up. Okay, that's how I hold my saddlebags up when I can work on it. Use a strap. Anyway, that's a wrap for now. I probably won't put that tire on right now. I'm just gonna put some more jack stands under the bike, cover it up. Probably put a chain from here to there. This way, won't be going nowhere. Man, freaking messed up, man. But damn good thing I caught it. But I guess that's a lesson to be learned. You know, motorcycles, man, you can't mess around with motorcycles. You got a car problem. I mean, you got four wheels, man. You know what I mean? You got a motorcycle problem. Shit. So, man, there's so much shit you got to watch out for, man. I'm telling you. Every time I go out, you know what I'll probably do next year, though? I'll probably grease this thing. Probably do a separate video on that because I'm just gonna unplug. You know, show you what I do. I just put a bunch of grease in there. These have never been changed out. I adjusted them. I checked them. I looked at them one time some years ago. And I said, well, they're not screwed up. Bunch of grease in there. So I decided to put a grease fitting up in that freaking thing. So, and I gotta fix this here. There's a little rust right here. Believe it or not, this is like a spray paint tank, man. It looks alright though. I dusted some silver over it so it looks metallic. Ghosted some flames. It's a spray paint tank. But there's a little rust right here. Probably from when I had it in there. Probably when the rain hit something, it probably dripped over there. I'm gonna touch that off, but since it won't blend in perfect, I got a lady red devil with a tail with spread eagle. I'm not gonna be able to show it on a freaking YouTube or nothing. And it's going right over here after I blend this in. It's going right here. So we put another one up right here too, man. Anyway, but I won't be able to show it out on YouTube, man, because we'll probably have a cow. You know, Susan will go, man, you can't show that. Anyway, it's a red devil lady. You know, kind of like in a pose. So there might be a couple on a freaking gas tank. One with, of course, we got our moonshine power right there. Yeah. Powered by moonshine, high octane redneck fuel. But you know, man, everything's a freaking risk, man. It's scary thinking about that shit now. I'm glad I didn't freaking ride down to that big Confederate flag. I mean, it might have had no problem. But then again, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows?